Breaking news. Ukraine's Phoenix unit destroyed a Russian camouflaged tank and intercepted a Grad MLRS before it could fire. That's a video headline from January 11th, 2026. And it's a headline that really shows you where modern warfare is going. Before we dive in, a quick reminder to subscribe to Defense Reports. It's your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. And with me is Aria for the latest deep dive by Defense Report. We do sharp, no-nonsense breakdowns of global defense news, military tech, and strategy. And today we are absolutely going to cover what that headline suggests. We're talking about an operation that did something, well, something pretty rare. It completely shifted the tactical advantage in one of the most critical sectors of the entire front.
Exactly. This wasn't just another successful strike near Kostiantynivka. This was a transition. For months, we've talked about counter-battery fire, right? Hitting an artillery system after it fired.
After it's already done the damage.
Precisely. But this was proactive interdiction. They neutralized a fully loaded, high-value Russian Grad MLRS before it could even launch its payload. I mean, this is about saving lives, preserving a crucial defensive line before it's even under fire.
And that's really the core mission of our deep dives today. Our sources are a collection of operational reports, some technical analyses, all detailing these precision strikes. We're less interested in just the footage and more in what it tells us tactically.
Yes. Our goal is to analyze how Ukraine is really institutionalizing this kind of asymmetric drone technology, using low-cost tools for incredibly high impact. It's about creating a permanent model of proactive defense and just massive economic attrition against Russian forces. And we're focusing on one unit in particular, the State Border Guard Service's Phoenix unit, and how their model is reshaping operations in that vital Pokrovsk and Toretsk sector.
Okay, let's unpack that. Who is the Phoenix unit? Because I think a lot of people listening might assume these kinds of elite drone operations are, exclusively part of the main army branches, but Phoenix comes from the border guards.
It's a fascinating story of wartime necessity just forcing rapid growth. So the Phoenix unit is a specialized unmanned systems regiment. And yes, within the State Border Guard Service, the SBGS, they started out really small, just a specialized UAV group inside the 2nd Border Rapid Response Command back in early 2024. And their baptism by fire. Well, it was the Battle of Bakhmut.
So they were forged in some of the most intense fighting. They didn't start as an attrition unit, but more as tactical support.
That's it. And their effectiveness was just immediately obvious. They went from tactical support to being a major force multiplier, and they did it fast. By February 2025, they were elevated to a full regiment. They're now part of the SBGS's Pomsta Brigade, which means revenge. And this isn't just random growth. It reflects a centralized decision by Kiev to create the unmanned systems forces as a distinct official branch.
So Phoenix is now a flagship unit in that new structure.
A key player, especially in the presidential drone line project. And they're led by Lieutenant Colonel Dmytro Aleksiuk, who is a Hero of Ukraine recipient. His unit's responsibility now covers huge areas: Donetsk, Luhansk, Kharkiv. They're a strategic asset.
Let's talk about the metrics then, because this is where the scale just becomes mind-boggling. By mid-2025, this small UAV group had engaged over 10,000 targets.
10,000. And the impact on Russia's military capacity is just devastating. The confirmed figures are over 3,400 Russian personnel killed or wounded, 157 tanks destroyed or damaged.
Wow.
Over 400 other armored vehicles, almost 2,000 transport vehicles. The estimated damage from this one border guard unit is now certified at over $1 billion.
$1 billion. That's a staggering number. But what does it really mean for Russia's ability to keep fighting? I mean, they have a deep pool of equipment, right?
They do, but this is why the economics are so important. That $1 billion, that represents equipment that is either irreplaceable in the short term, or it costs a fortune in time and money to go get it, drag it back, and repair it. It directly hits their ability to sustain an offensive. It forces them to pull older, less reliable tanks and artillery out of deep storage, which just creates more maintenance headaches. It's systemic degradation, all driven by these high-volume, low-cost strikes.
Which brings us right to that tactical masterpiece from January 11th. So target number one, the interception of that BM-21 Grad MLRS. What is the real difference between hitting a Grad after it fires and doing what Phoenix did, this pre-launch neutralization?
Well, the BM-21 Grad, or Hail, it's the classic Soviet-era terror weapon. It's on a truck, and its only purpose is to just overwhelm an area. It fires 40 rockets in less than 20 seconds.
40 rockets?
Yeah, covering an area of up to 14.5 hectares. It's designed to flatten absolutely everything in the impact zone.
So by the time you hear it, the damage is already done.
It's already done. A reactive system tries to hit the Grad based on its launch signature, but it's too late. What Phoenix did was exploit the Grad's key vulnerability. See, after it fires, it has about a minute to get out of there,
Hmm.
but it needs around 7 minutes to reload. So it's most vulnerable either when it's setting up or when it's loaded and just waiting for the command to fire.
And they caught it in that most dangerous but also most fragile state, fully armed, ready to go.
The reports say it was moving into its firing position, ready to hit Ukrainian positions, maybe even civilians in Kostiantynivka. The FPV strike.
Hmm.
It didn't just damage the vehicle. Because the whole rocket array was armed, it triggered a secondary explosion.
A huge one.
A colossal one, total destruction. The SPGS called it an infernal machine that never reached its target. So the win is twofold.
Yeah,
You destroy the equipment and you prevent the entire barrage. It's a huge leap in capability.
it really is. Okay, let's turn to target number 2, the camouflaged Russian main battle tank. Now, hitting an exposed Grad is one thing, but how do these pilots track and destroy a tank that is actively trying to hide from them?
Right, and this really speaks to the sophistication of both sides. The Russians know they're being watched from above, so they use everything. Complex natural camouflage, thermal blankets to hide heat signatures, and of course, those improvised barbecue cages.
The slat armor we see on top of them.
Exactly, slat armor. It's specifically designed to defeat a drone's shaped charge by making it detonate early before it hits the main armor.
So it's this constant game of cat and mouse. How do the Phoenix pilots win?
It takes very specialized training and really high-end thermal imaging. First, no camouflage is perfect. The pilots are trained to spot tiny anomalies, fresh track marks, disturbed earth, even steam from an engine. Second, at night, thermal is king. Even with blankets, a tank that has recently been running holds a massive amount of heat. It just glows on the screen against the cool landscape.
And the report said they tracked this specific tank into a building. That's another level entirely.
It is, and it shows their aggressive hunting doctrine. They don't just hit targets in the open. They followed this tank into a structure, probably a ruined barn or something, where the crew thought they were safe from overhead surveillance.
And they still got it.
I still got it. Maneuvering an FPV drone through a small opening to destroy a high-value target tucked away inside a building? I mean, that just shows you no amount of concealment is safe anymore.
Which takes us to the broader strategy here, the just relentless logic of attrition being waged by these drone units.
And what's so wild is the economic model. This is the absolute heart of asymmetric warfare. Just think about the exchange rate. A fully kitted out FPV drone might cost, what, $500 to $1,000?
At most.
And that one drone can take out a $5 million tank? Or a Grad system worth hundreds of thousands.
It's a trade that Russia just cannot win. They're burning through millions of dollars of equipment for every few thousand Ukraine spends.
Exactly, and you have to look at the cumulative effect. The General Staff reports that by January 10th, 2026, Russia has lost nearly 1,600 MLRS systems. Every single one destroyed by units like Phoenix contributes to that constant systemic bleed. Russia just can't protect its expensive gear from a flood of cheap, expendable drones.
And that flood is now 24/7. Darkness doesn't offer any safety.
That's the night shift. Phoenix uses these heavy strike drones. People call them vampires or night bombers. They're bigger hexacopters, octocopters, carrying larger munitions and advanced thermals. And at night, like we said, that thermal contrast is just so stark. A warm engine, a dugout with soldiers inside. It all stands out against the cold, dark background. It means round-the-clock pressure. No rest for Russian crews. No safe time to move valuable assets.
You know, some observers say that hitting logistics is like a game of whack-a-mole, that Russia's supply lines are too deep. What makes the Phoenix unit's approach to this different?
That's a great question. The difference is their focus on what's called the last mile problem. They aren't trying to take out huge railway hubs 100 kilometers behind the front. They're targeting the immediate supply chain. The cars, the trucks, even the little quad bikes and buggies that are used to ferry ammo and troops right up to the frontline assault groups.
So you're cutting off the lifeline right at the tip of the spear.
Precisely. You starve that assault unit of ammo or reinforcements just hours before they're supposed to attack, and their entire offensive just collapses. Hitting a truck full of shells 5 kilometers from the front is often more debilitating than hitting a big depot 50 kilometers back.
Of course, for any of this to work, they have to deal with Russia's electronic warfare. The sources mentioned they prioritize destroying systems like the R330 ZTEL and the 10122 Garmin. What are those, and why is taking them out so important?
They're key parts of Russia's electronic denial strategy. The R-330's ETEL is a powerful jamming station. It's designed to disrupt satellite communications, GPS navigation, basically anything that needs a signal from space.
Which is a lot of modern systems.
A lot. And the 1L-122 Garmin is a radar station used to detect incoming threats, including smaller UAVs. So by taking them out, Phoenix is essentially deoccupying the airwaves.
Creating a safe corridor for their own operations.
That's it, exactly. Neutralize the ZITL, and you open up corridors for all your drones, destroy the Garmin, and you blind the enemy to what's coming. It's about protecting your own network while enabling your own strikes.
Let's zoom out to the big picture then. Why are Kostiantynivka and Toretsk so critically important right now? Why do these strikes carry so much strategic weight?
Well, Kostiantynivka is an absolutely vital logistics hub, but more than that, it's part of the main fortress belt that protects the key cities of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. If Kostiantynivka were to fall, the entire defensive line in northern Donetsk is at risk.
And Russia's goal is to break that belt.
They are constantly trying. They push through the Toretsk area, trying to get onto the TO 516 highway to push towards Kostiantynivka. But that whole strategy depends on overwhelming armor and constant fire support. And what Phoenix is doing, destroying that Grad, taking out tanks, eliminating 50 personnel in one coordinated day, it directly stabilizes that line. They are preventing Russia from building up the sheer mass of firepower they need for a breakthrough.
It really feels like this Phoenix model, proactive, economical, integrated, is becoming the template for modern defense. What stands out most to you about what this means for the future?
It's that transition from reactive defense to proactive interdiction, hitting the Grad before it fires. That is the defining feature. And looking forward, with the formalization of the unmanned systems forces, this is only going to get more sophisticated. The sources point to things like AI-enhanced targeting, which could spot camouflaged assets faster than any human. We're also talking about expanding long-range strike capabilities, maybe drone missile hybrids that can hit critical targets deep in the Russian rear.
So, Ukraine's technological and tactical innovation is just fundamentally outpacing Russia's ability to adapt its old-school doctrine.
I think it is. The Phoenix model proves that superior tech and tactical skill can consistently beat the traditional advantages of a numerically superior enemy. That $500 drone beating the multi-million-dollar tank. That's the story of this battlefield.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
The final takeaway for you is this. The model established by units like Phoenix means high-value assets and critical supply lines are no longer safe anywhere near the front. And that forces Russia into an impossible economic and operational corner.
So here's a provocative thought for you to take away. The Phoenix unit's ability to destroy assets and cripple logistics before an engagement even starts is now the defining model of modern defense. So what will Russia's next countermeasure be? Not in terms of more armor, but in terms of their own drone warfare. And maybe more importantly, how quickly will Ukraine innovate past that? We'll leave you with that thought. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.